When a restaurant owner publicly humiliates Barron Trump, the air crackles with tension. But when Melania Trump steps into the storm, her response doesn't just settle scores. It ignites a firestorm no one saw coming. Chaos erupts, turning a single act of humiliation into a spectacle of power, pride, and unexpected reckoning. The restaurant, Le Lumiere, was the epitome of high-end dining in Manhattan. Crystal chandeliers hung like jewels from the ceiling, and each table was adorned with fresh orchids and pristine linen. It was a place where the city's elite gathered to see and be seen, a world of exclusivity and sophistication. Barron Trump, now in his late teens, had arrived with two close friends to celebrate a birthday. Tall and unassuming, he wore a simple navy sweater and jeans, his quiet demeanor masking the complexities of his life. They had reserved a small table in a corner, hoping for an evening of laughter and good food, away from the scrutiny that often followed him. As they were seated, whispers rippled through the restaurant like a rising tide. A few patrons craned their necks, their curiosity piqued. Others exchanged knowing glances, the presence of a Trump sparking an undercurrent of tension. The restaurant owner, a middle-aged man named Philippe Duval, was alerted to Barron's arrival. Philippe was a proud chef, known not only for his culinary prowess, but also for his outspoken political views. He prided himself on creating a space that reflected his values, and tonight he saw an opportunity to make a statement. Felipe approached the table, his polished demeanor concealing a sharp edge. "Good evening," he said, his French accent thick. "I trust you are enjoying yourselves?" Barron looked up, polite but cautious. "Yes, thank you," he replied. Philippe's smile was tight. "Ah, how interesting to see a young Trump here. Tell me, do you share your father's appetite for, let's say, controversy?" Barron froze, the words catching him off guard. His friends exchanged nervous glances, unsure how to respond. "I'm just here to enjoy dinner," Barron said evenly, his tone measured. But Philippe wasn't finished. "Well, I must say, some of our patrons might not be as welcoming. Perhaps you understand why your presence could cause discomfort." The room fell silent. Conversations at nearby tables ceased as diners turned to watch the unfolding scene. Barron's face remained calm, but a flicker of embarrassment crossed his eyes. He stood slowly, his height towering over Philippe, and spoke with quiet resolve. "I didn't come here to make a statement," Barron said. "I came to celebrate a friend's birthday. If my presence is such a problem, we'll leave." The dignity in his response caught Philippe off guard, but he recovered quickly, his pride unwilling to back down. "Perhaps that would be best," he said with a dismissive wave. Barron and his friends gathered their belongings and left the restaurant, their departure followed by hushed murmurs and stolen glances. The humiliation stung, but Barron refused to let it show. When he returned home, Melania Trump noticed immediately that something was wrong. Barron's usually calm demeanor was tinged with a quiet frustration, his movements uncharacteristically stiff. After some coaxing, he recounted the incident, his words laced with a mixture of hurt and anger. Melania listened intently, her hands folded tightly in her lap. As he spoke, her heart ached for him, her protective instincts flaring. She had endured her fair share of criticism over the years, but the thought of her son being publicly humiliated was unbearable. That night, after Barron had gone to bed, Melania sat at her desk and began to write. Her letter wasn't just directed at Philippe, it was a message to anyone who judged her son based on his last name. The next morning, Melania published her statement online. "My son Barron is a kind, intelligent young man who, like any other teenager, deserves to be treated with respect. Last night, he was publicly humiliated for no reason other than his name. This is unacceptable, and I cannot remain silent." She described the incident in detail, her words dripping with both grace and indignation. "As a mother, I have watched my son endure scrutiny and judgment that no young person should ever face. To see him treated this way, especially by an adult who should know better, is deeply disheartening." Melania's statement didn't end with criticism, it extended an olive branch. "I believe in the power of understanding and dialogue. To the restaurant owner, I would invite you to reflect on your actions and consider the message you've sent, not just to my son, but to every young person watching." The letter went viral within hours. News outlets picked up the story, and social media was ablaze with reactions. Many condemned Philippe's actions, while others praised Melania for her measured and heartfelt response. At La Lumiere, Philippe was inundated with calls and emails. Patrons canceled reservations, and online reviews tanked the restaurant's rating. Feeling the pressure, Philippe issued a public apology, claiming his actions had been misguided and that he regretted causing harm. Despite the apology, Melania refused to meet with Philippe directly. "It's not about me," she told a reporter. "It's about my son and the example we set for the next generation." Barron, for his part, remained quiet about the incident. When asked by a friend how he felt about the fallout, he simply shrugged. "It's not about getting even," he said. "It's about moving forward." The experience, though painful, had a silver lining. Barron's poise and Melania's response inspired a broader conversation about the treatment of children in the public eye. Parents and educators rallied around the message, calling for greater empathy and understanding in an increasingly divided world. And while La Lumiere struggled to recover its reputation, Barron continued to walk through life with quiet dignity, a reminder that true strength lies in how we respond to adversity. As the days passed, the fallout from the La Lumiere incident only intensified. News outlets kept the story in circulation, dissecting the exchange between Barron and Philippe in minute detail. Critics of Philippe hailed Melania's response as a model of grace, while others pointed to the restaurant owner's unapologetic stance and his slow, forced retreat under public pressure. But Barron, despite being thrust into the public eye once again, remained composed. He returned to school with his usual quiet determination, though the once insular world of elite New York prep schools now felt a little more hostile. Some students expressed support for him, offering private words of solidarity, while others steered clear, not wanting to risk being associated with the Trump name. A few of Barron's friends, however, had grown closer in the wake of the controversy. One of them, a classmate named Andrew, reached out and asked if Barron wanted to grab a coffee after school. The two sat in a small cafe, away from the prying eyes of the public, and Barron opened up more than he had in a while. "It's frustrating," Barron said, stirring his coffee absently. "It's not about who I am, but what people think I represent. They don't even know me." Andrew nodded. "Yeah, I get it. People are so quick to judge, but you handled it better than I ever would have. You didn't let him get to you." Barron gave a half smile, appreciating the support. "It's hard not to. The way people treat me, like I'm nothing more than a symbol. I just want to be left alone sometimes, you know?" "I can't imagine," Andrew replied. "But you're not alone in this. You've got people who care. Don't forget that." Barron appreciated the sentiment. For all the attention the incident had garnered, it was these moments of quiet understanding that reminded him of the true value of friendship. Meanwhile, Melania's statement had not only gone viral, but sparked a much-needed conversation about respect, judgment, and the treatment of public figures' families. People across the globe shared their thoughts, many standing in solidarity with Barron, some opening up about their own experiences with public scrutiny. "Isn't it strange how people think they can just judge you based on your last name?" one mother from Texas tweeted. "My daughter faced the same kind of judgment after the election, and we never asked for that kind of attention. The public needs to remember that these kids didn't choose this life." Melania's own social media had exploded with messages of thanks and support, with thousands of parents and advocates sharing stories of their own children facing unjust treatment. It became a movement, a call for empathy and understanding. But Melania, despite the outpouring of gratitude, remained humble. In interviews, she repeatedly said the same thing. "I spoke because I had to. Every child, regardless of their background, deserves kindness and respect. My son is not immune to hurt just because of who he is, and neither are other children." Her words became a rallying cry for those who felt their voices had been drowned out by negativity or bias. It was a message that resonated far beyond the Trump family, inspiring parents to fight for their children's dignity in an increasingly divisive world. The incident at Les Lumières had also caused a ripple effect in the restaurant industry. Many restaurant owners, realizing the power of public opinion, began taking measures to ensure their establishments were welcoming to all, regardless of political affiliation or celebrity status. In New York City, a few smaller, family-owned restaurants launched campaigns calling for an end to political profiling, promoting inclusivity and respect for customers from all walks of life. Philippe Duval, meanwhile, was faced with the consequences of his actions. Despite his public apology, La Lumière struggled to regain its former status. Reservations plummeted, and online reviews were overwhelmingly negative. The damage to his reputation was severe, and rumors circulated that he had lost his Michelin star, a rumor that, though unconfirmed, sent shockwaves through the culinary community. As his restaurant faced declining fortunes, Felipe began to reevaluate his approach. He publicly acknowledged his role in the controversy, claiming that his bias had clouded his judgment. "I have learned a painful lesson," he said in a televised interview. "My actions were wrong, and I regret that I made anyone feel unwelcome, especially a young person who was only there to enjoy a meal." Philippe's apology, however, was met with skepticism by many. Some felt it was too little, too late, and that his sincerity was compromised by his initial refusal to back down. Others, though, believed that his willingness to admit fault signaled a path toward redemption. While the fallout from Le Lumiere's incident lingered in the air, Barron's life slowly began to settle back into its quiet rhythm. At school, he continued to focus on his studies, now more determined than ever to define his own identity, one not shaped by public opinion, but by his own values. He had learned that true strength didn't lie in confrontation or seeking validation, but in the ability to rise above the noise and stay true to himself. The incident with Felipe, painful as it was, had given him a clearer sense of what mattered. And Melania, ever the mother, watched her son grow with a mixture of pride and relief. She knew the world would continue to scrutinize him, but she also knew that he was ready to face it, just as she was ready to stand beside him, no matter the storm. In the end, the story of Le Lumiere was more than just a tale of one restaurant's bad decision. It was a reminder that judgment, no matter how casually thrown, can have far-reaching consequences. It was a lesson in empathy, in the importance of standing up for what is right, and in the enduring power of love and support. And while Felipe Duval's restaurant may have faced an uncertain future, Barron and Melania Trump emerged with a quiet strength that no amount of public scrutiny could ever diminish. They had faced the storm, and had come out stronger for it.